All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Chat with a Cop. I am your host, Sergeant Medlin. And happy holidays, by the way. This is going to be the holiday edition. This will be the last one we do for the year. We're going to reconvene probably January of 2022. So we got some special guests today, and we got a lot of information to share with you guys, some useful and some very helpful information to get you guys safely through the holiday season. But first, I want to introduce my guests, and when I introduce them, I'm going to let them kind of, tell you what they do, how long they've been working, and we'll go from there. But we have Captain Don Johnson, and we have Chief Hathcock. So, Don, you tell everybody, what do you do for the fire department, and you guys had this new position that you've gotten recently. So if you want to take a few minutes and tell them what it is.
Okay. So as Sergeant Medlin said, my name is Captain Don Johnson. I've been a resident of Garner since, 1992. I joined the fire department here as a volunteer in 1997 and came aboard full-time in 2003. So been with the fire department about 25 years. Recently came off of shift work off of our Engine 3 and took a position in the administrative office. We created a new position within the fire department called a community risk reduction. It's a captain level position, and so I transferred from the engine to that position. And it is encompasses what we traditionally refer to as fire prevention, but also much more than just fire prevention. It is a all-encompassing community-based education program where we look for risks within the community and work with stakeholders within the community, such as the police department, EMS, Parks and Recs, town, DOT, whatever organizations we would need to bring into the plan to mitigate hazards within the community that are not simply fire related. Right. So it's a relatively new concept in the fire world, much more involved than simple fire prevention. Although fire prevention is still our major concern for us, right. And so it's a new position. It's a new challenge. I've been at it for about 6 months now, and looking forward to developing those partnerships with the town and organizations within the community, and even outside of the community to do what we can to lower the risk to all of our citizens in all ways, and attack this as a team.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, us. Police, fire, EMS coming together as a true public safety entity, because we may joke about police and fire and what you do versus what we do, but when it's all said and done, we're on the same team.
Right.
It's all fun and games. So Chief Hathcock, if you want to introduce yourself to the viewers. I know you're fairly new to the Garner community, so kind of tell them how long you've been doing what you've been doing and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so first off, thank you, Sergeant Medlin, Garner Police Department, for having us here today, giving us an opportunity to share some information. I have been a part of the fire service since I was 15 years old. I got into a junior firefighter program as a result of a medical emergency that happened in my home. As part of being a Boy Scout, I think I had the natural draw to fire. During that medical emergency with my father, I realized the fire service did much more than just fight fires. So during spring break, 15 years old, I went up and joined my local volunteer department, and I guess the rest is history. They say once it gets in you, it never leaves you. And so starting as a volunteer, I transitioned into a career role very shortly after that, and essentially the fire service was my life. Career, part-time, volunteer. I think most firefighters would understand that early on in a career. You're getting off from one fire station, leaving to go to another one somewhere else. So it truly takes a dedicated individual with a very specific passion for what we do to do it. And so my first home place was a smaller department in Cumberland County, West Area Fire Department. At that point, we had 4 stations. rose through the ranks to become the fire chief there. During that time period, I also got on with Fayetteville Fire Department. I spent almost 18 years in Cumberland County as part of Fayetteville Fire. In 2010, I was tasked by the fire chief to enter a planning and research division, and there was specific interest with Fayetteville at that point at pursuing the international accreditation model for the fire service. And as an operational firefighter, I didn't know much about the concept at that point. So I was tasked with that. I came in, big educational experience there for me, and I learned to come to appreciate the value in the model and what it truly did for the organization and the community served. So a unique opportunity came a few years ago with Garner. So coming up soon, it will be 2 years with Garner Fire. Garner is a great place, and they were also looking to become accredited through the Center for Public Safety Excellence. They put in work for a number of years through different staff members and just kind of needed some help putting all the pieces together. So they created a new position, much like Don's, in my position as an assistant chief over accreditation. That is my primary role. I also function as the training officer for Garner. And I'm very happy to announce that July of this year, we finally achieved that accreditation status we had been working so hard for. But as a result of that process, part of it is a real self-assessment in the organization, and hence why Captain Johnson's role came on board. We felt like, much like most fire service entities, we felt like we did a good job in the community. The community in most places certainly loves the fire department, but we recognized some shortcomings, some areas we felt like we could do better at, but the only way we would do that was with dedicated support. So as Captain Johnson indicated, we established a captain of community risk reduction, and I'm sure we can certainly talk more about the specifics on that position and what it really encompasses to give understanding to the viewers and what our goal is. So I'm very proud to be a part of Garner, and I can certainly tell you 2 years has absolutely flown by. This is a great agency. This is a great community, and you have a lot of really good political support here. And it has certainly been very humbling to me to tackle this new role.
Very good. And we're thrilled and happy and honored to have you along, with our town. Sounds like you come from a good background. You got some good training at other larger agencies, and we appreciate you bringing it down to this little town of ours. Well, cool. Now that we all know each other, let's talk about some other things. We got some things coming up for the holiday season. Christmas parade being one, but let's start before that. This Friday,
yes,
there is an event. You want to talk a little bit about the event this Friday?
This Friday is the Garner Town Market. There's already been, I think, 3 prior to this, earlier this year, and they've all been very successful. So the one the day after Thanksgiving, Friday, what is the date on Friday? I'm bad. Day after Thanksgiving. It's coming Friday. The town market is the 26th. The town market is joining forces with with Garner to have both the combination pop-up market and our tree lighting Christmas celebration on Main Street, beginning at 5 o'clock, and there will be vendors lined up and down Main Street and some of the side streets, all the way down through the downtown district. And on some of the side streets, I believe that the tree lighting is taking place at 6 p.m. My understanding is that Santa Claus and Mayor Marshburn are going to be lighting the tree. Hopefully, we will be there from the fire department standpoint to make sure they do that safely, so that they don't burn our town tree up. But all jokes aside, that is at 6 p.m. I believe there will also be some photo opportunities with Santa. He's going to be they're going to have a truck down there that he's going to be sitting in with some photo opportunities. And as I said, lots of vendors up and down the street. We'll be out there representing the fire department. We'll be there close to the tree, so please stop by and see us. I'm sure Powell Powell will probably have their
sure.
display set up out there, and of course you guys will be out there monitoring everything
Absolutely.
as well. So again, collectively working to both celebrate the town and try to make sure everything is safe and taken care of.
Absolutely.
Look forward to seeing everyone out there. It may be a little chilly, but it'll be a great night, and look forward to seeing everyone. Hope you'll stop by and visit with us at our tent.
And what about the Christmas parade? What's going on with that? We got that coming up pretty soon,
Christmas
too.
parade is December the 18th, and I believe there's, I'm not 100% sure on the time, but if I'm not mistaken, the time, I believe, is 9:30. But we'll make sure to post it on the fire department Facebook page. I'm sure it'll be posted on some other social media platforms as well as that time draws closer. I believe the time is 9:30, but I will verify that and make sure
everybody
we get it
check
out
your
in plenty
social
of
media.
time.
It'll be on the town website. I'm sure it'll be, like you said, on Garner Fire, and I'm sure Garner Police will put something out as far as what time it starts, but it is the 18th. I'm glad we actually had a chance to do it this year. I know it was kind of teetering on if we were going to do it or not, but good Lord willing, we came through with it, and we're going to be ready to do it. So I'm glad people are going to be able to come out, because unfortunately, I mean, we've all been through a tough time with this COVID stuff. So whenever we have opportunities to have community events like that, it gives a little bit more normalcy, back in
Absolutely.
people's lives, and that's what people need. So I'm really happy that the town and we all came together and decided we're going to be able to do this. That's very good.
Also, just as a side note, I just remembered this. That same day as the Christmas parade on the 18th will also be an event out at Lake Benson Park. That is at 10 a.m. To place wreaths upon the different memorials out there at the Veterans Memorial at Lake Benson Park. That'll be at 10 o'clock. So make sure. May be tough to do both at the same time, but they will be out there placing wreaths on the Veterans Memorial at 10 o'clock that same morning. So just want to make sure folks know about that as well.
Good to know. Good to know. I know it doesn't affect the fire department as much, but just let everybody know the 19th, the police department is going to be doing the Shop with a Cop. We do that every year. And I mentioned that to give all props and all thank yous to TT&E Iron and Metal, because every year they sponsor that event to the fullest. We always, I don't know if she's going to have it this year, but I know in the past Angie's Restaurant has, donated breakfast and stuff like that. So I just want to say thank you and use this platform to say thank you to everyone involved with Shop with a Cop, because without y'all, it would be very difficult to have. Thank you to the Thompsons at TT&E and for your generosity and for all you do. So I just kind of want to throw that out there, because there's plenty of people, not just in this community but in this world, that don't have or aren't fortunate enough to be able to have a big spread dinner or get gifts, or and it's unfortunate, but it is reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So which brings me to something that you guys do very
Right.
similar. So if you want to speak about the tot thing.
Right. So we are partnered once again this year, as are lots of fire departments throughout the area. Have partnered once again this year with the United States Marine Corps for their annual Toys for Tots drive. We have boxes set up at all 4 of our fire stations. And our administrative office, which is right here on 7th Avenue behind the police department. So that drive is taking place. The last day to drop toys off is December the 11th. New unwrapped toys. We've been doing this for several years now, and I was actually watching a clip on the news last night, and it was one of Raleigh's firefighters doing an interview on television, and then she made an excellent point that it would be heartbreaking to know that a family had to choose between buying food to stock the refrigerator or buying their child a Christmas present. That would be a devastating decision to have to make as a parent.
It would be.
So we are are asking to please make sure that doesn't happen for the children, not only in our community, but throughout the area. One toy for a child that doesn't have anything can make or break their Christmas. So if you have a chance, you're out shopping. I know Friday is a huge shopping day, Black Friday. Everyone's going to be out shopping for their families. We would ask if you could just maybe purchase one present and drop it off in any of the 4 fire stations at our administrative office. If you can't get by there, you can leave it here at the police department next door, and I'm sure they'll make sure it gets to us as well. As long as it gets to a needy child, that's all we're concerned about. So help us out with helping out the community and make sure we take care of those that are less fortunate than the rest of us.
Yeah, no, that's great. You know, you hear all these different things going on during this season, and I think it solidifies my opening statement on what makes this community so great. You know, this is certainly a time of Thanksgiving for everyone, and we should all be ever so thankful for not only what we have, but that journey along the way, those things that maybe didn't happen for an unknown reason at that time that maybe provided some healing and understanding as time has moved forward. So certainly any way we can impact anyone during this season, I think we're all challenged to do that. And it just kind of warms my heart to hear all these different things going on, because we do understand there are people that are less fortunate than all of us, and we certainly all have something to be thankful for. And the impact you make on the lives of other people, to me, is paramount to any impact you would ever make on yourself. So we're certainly happy to support any of those programs. The UNC Burn Center is another program that we support each year. The burn victims that go to Camp Celebrate, that's something that the fire department is very passionate about supporting. In past years, Captain Johnson, you went and actually played Santa Claus for the Burn Center.
That's
right?
supposed to be a secret, Chief. Nobody's supposed to know I'm Santa Claus.
Sorry, no kids are watching.
Yes, a lot of folks probably don't realize, and I'm glad you brought that up, a lot of folks probably do not realize that if you've been in Garner for more than a year and have never heard of our Fireman's Day, then apparently they don't own a TV or a computer, because Fireman's Day is one of our biggest days of the year here in Garner. It's truly that, between that and the 4th of July celebration and the cancer walk out at Lake Benson, one of the biggest days of the year. And in years past, in the days before fire taxes and whatnot, that was a primary fundraiser for the fire department to make its operational monies to fund them for the year. And fortunately, as our town has grown, the fire department's grown and whatnot, that is not the primary purpose of it now. The money we make off of Fireman's Day is not operational monies. A large part of that money is actually donated back out to other organizations, with our primary benefactor being the UNC Burn Center in the past. We've been visiting the Burn Center now for over 25 years. They were going when I got on the fire department, and I got involved with that pretty quickly, and have been going for a very long time. And every year we have been able to increase our donation there. And sometimes it's a monetary donation. There's been years when there's been a lot of children there, so we'll go out and purchase presents and gifts and whatnot, and we'd take them over on a Saturday morning along with a handful of firemen to help, and we would actually pack these toys up in bags and go door to door, room to room, and deliver these presents to these children. Gift cards for the adults, blankets, things like that. And again, it goes back to what we said earlier. A lot of these patients have been in the hospital for months on end. Some of them have been there as long as a year. And some of them are there because UNC is one of the best burn centers on the East Coast. It's actually the largest burn center, if I'm not mistaken, between Washington and Atlanta. And the folks over there do a phenomenal job, but they also have a large load of patients because they are so good at what they do. And so a lot of these folks, their families can't come and see them on a regular basis. And often, I've been told more than once that us visiting them at Christmas time was the only visit they got at Christmas. And so, yeah, that makes a big difference. And we're proud that the community comes out every year and supports Fireman's Day, because the money we make off of all that barbecue you guys eat and all the games that the kids play and the raffle tickets that you buy, and that fantastic band that's played there for the past couple of years.
That's some good music, right?
Yeah, that band that you guys come out there and listen to.
I don't know about that lead singer.
But the money that you guys, that the town spends at Fireman's Day, we just want you to know it all goes for a great, great cause. And you guys spending that money on that one day of the year makes a bigger difference than most of you will ever know. Not only for the Burn Center, but also, as Chief Hathcock mentioned, the UNC Burn Center also sponsors what's called Camp Celebrate. So a lot of these children, especially, that have burn injuries, can sometimes feel very out of place when they go back to school or when they go back into their communities because of the scars and the unfortunate side effects of a lot of these burns. And so oftentimes they feel much more comfortable when they're in an environment with other children that have experienced the same thing. And so they do Camp Celebrate once a year out at the camp at Wake Forest, Camp Kanata. Is it Camp Kanata? They host Camp Celebrate out there once a year, and it's awesome. All the fire departments around the state will send a fire truck to meet at a shopping center out in North Raleigh, and we load these kids up on these fire trucks, and we drive the kids to burn camp, and it's a long parade of fire trucks, lights, sirens. We're led by police lead us down the road, and we carry them all the way to Camp Celebrate on fire trucks, and they spend a weekend there with kids that have experienced some of the same trauma that they have. And so that money goes to support Camp Celebrate as well. So awesome. Please, continue to come out and support Fireman's Day because, that is our benefactor. Now, that being said, we also realize there are organizations within our own community, and we try to, that money also goes and helps some of those organizations. And there's a wealth of organizations within our community, and I hate to start listing them because I know I'm going to leave someone out, so I won't mention any names. But there are several that are huge in helping out the less fortunate population in our town, and we also enjoy trying to help them out with that as well. So
absolutely.
So every dollar you spend at Fireman's Day is going back to help your own community. So please continue to come out and support that function as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, man. That's all good stuff. I didn't. I had heard about the camp that you're talking about. I didn't know that all that was cool, man. How you guys take them out and. Oh yeah, that's cool, man. I like that stuff.
It's fire departments from as far away as the coast, and we have some that come all in from the mountains.
That's sweet.
And it's a 15-minute ride from the shopping center to the camp. But it's
the most fun they've had.
But it's 15 minutes of joy for those kids, yeah. and these guys will come from all over the state to give them that 15 minutes of fun.
Yeah, and that's that's one of the great things about this new position and this community risk reduction kind of term and role that Don is in is just as the police department, we've got our EMS partners, we've got emergency management. All these public safety entities have so many great things that they're focused on, and even amongst each other, we may not know what some of those things are. So as part of this role, it's to kind of forge and build upon those partnerships that exist within public safety and not necessarily to take away from one, but to figure out one, to get the knowledge and education on what's happening, how we can partner up with each other and be beneficial and support each other, which in turn supports the mission and in turn certainly impacts the services we provide to the community. So I've learned a tremendous amount just through our conversations about what the police department does, and that's something we want to build on because outreach is a large part of community risk reduction and what Captain Johnson will be doing. And your fire department and police department, I think, certainly does a great job at all that, but we want to be able to get those messages out more consistently, and we realize everyone is not necessarily in tune with social media, so trying to figure out all the different outlets and how we can reach those people sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. I always use my dad as an example. If it doesn't happen and it's not printed in the printed newspaper, he doesn't know about it because he's not an online computer person. So if there's something important, he expects to read about it in the newspaper. And I think we've got a large demographic that may be that way. So how do you get those messages out to those people? and how are we proactive about that. But certainly just learning about these, and even this opportunity here today and chatting with a cop, we joked a little bit that we need like fellowship with a firefighter. Maybe Sergeant Mellon, you could be our first
I
one
will
on.
gladly come on that show.
But this is this
We'll
is
bring the donuts.
this is the intent, right? And certainly just hearing about all these things and how we can support each other and support the community, that is one of the primary goals of Captain Johnson's position. And certainly, the fire service historically, no matter where you go, I think the community that served inherently kind of loves the fire department, and I say that based on surveys and results. Certainly a little different than police department. We love the police department and certainly appreciate them, but as we've talked about earlier, sometimes you guys are at the mercy of taking away someone's freedom, and that is part of that role. And for us, we always have to look for ways to educate and get better, and the focus over the years has been a lot of fire suppression. And what most people probably don't know is fires themselves are the least of what we actually do anymore. Historically, your largest percentage of call volume is medical in nature as first responders. So those interventions we have on those patients and being more proactive about every program a fire department offers, from fire suppression, emergency medical services, our hazardous materials programs, our tech rescue, our public education, our domestic preparedness, planning, and response. How do we educate on all those things? Right now is the winter months. We'll spend some time later talking about Christmas tree safety and winter preparation tips, but also major storms, hurricanes, disasters, ice events. How can the fire department better serve the community in getting that educational component out? I think that's certainly the intent, and our job is to look at the demographic and socioeconomic variables that exist within our community, and it forces us to get out and not only learn about our partners, but to also learn about the people we serve. Sure. Captain Johnson and I were talking this morning. If we know that we're going to go to another country outside of the United States and we plan that trip well in advance, let's say a year from now, we'll spend a tremendous amount of time trying to understand the culture, the language, the things we need to do. So you take that same concept and apply it to what we do here locally in our own community. We need to be investing that same time, effort, and energy in learning about our demographics and socioeconomic variables and where we can best suit people proactively instead of just when you make that call to 911.
Right.
I'm
sorry. And so one of the ways we do that is, one of the ways that we do that is through this idea of community risk reduction, rather than fire department-based risk reduction or police department-based risk reduction or EMS-based risk reduction. We come together, much as we've already discussed in meetings in the past, where we kind of partner up, because if there's things that you guys already know about, obviously like traffic safety and things like that, and EMS knows about fall preventions and medical emergencies and all, rather than us trying to go out and reinvent the wheel and present it from the fire department standpoint, is to bring us together.
Absolutely.
and let the subject matter experts educate, but do it collectively so that we're doing it as a partnership, as a team. I think the message is much more effective, and I think it's received better by the public because they see us all as one team.
Exactly. Well, I think it's a good time to transition into, let's give some safety tips, man. Let's talk about some risk reduction and crime prevention. How about that? So if you want to go first, it doesn't matter. So obviously this holiday season, a lot of things are happening. We got family coming over. We're frying turkeys, man. We're putting Christmas trees up, and we're traveling. So we got a bunch of things to kind of throw at you to just, hey, keep in mind of these things so that you can have a safe trip. Right. You can have a safe turkey fry or, a safe Christmas tree, a beautiful Christmas tree in your house. So if you want to start with some of that kind of stuff, and then I'll jump in for some like home safety tips and stuff like that. Okay.
Well, yes. So Thanksgiving obviously is tomorrow. And we were actually talking before we came online live about the amount of traffic that's going to be on the road this evening. A lot of folks are working half a day today, but I'll leave that to the subject matter expert about the traffic. So once you arrive at that Thanksgiving gathering this evening or tomorrow or whatnot, there's the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas specifically, are two of the highest times of home fires throughout the year. A large majority of home fires take place around this time of year, and a lot of those are cooking fires within the kitchen. However, Thanksgiving kind of has its own unique set of risks that go along with it because of the popularity of deep frying turkeys. And trust me, if you could see below the table and see the belly on myself here, you could tell Don likes a little fried turkey now and then. But it does come with some hazards, not to discourage anyone from having a good time, but we definitely want folks to be safe when it comes to frying turkeys. Every year you probably see on the news all these demonstrations of turkey fryers boiling over and causing fires, yet it seems that year after year we continue to have them, and so we want to reiterate year after year a few of the safety tips that are offered out there. And I actually place some of these on the Garner Fire Rescue Facebook page, so you can go and take a look at them as far as the tips and a video of what happens when you do it incorrectly. But probably some of the major things are, we don't never deep fry inside of a garage or an enclosed area. You need to be outside a good 10, 15 feet away from the house. We do not do it on a deck because, decks are typically wood, which is combustible. A lot of your newer homes especially have the vinyl siding. The vinyl siding, if that fire hits that vinyl siding, it's going to catch on fire very, very quickly. It's going to burn very rapidly. So outside on the ground, on a good, smooth, level surface. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they overfill the pot with oil. And then when they drop the turkey in, all that oil spills over onto the flame below. So a good trick to make sure you're not overfilling it that I learned is to put the turkey in an empty pot, pour the oil in just enough to cover your turkey, then remove the turkey from the pot and heat the oil up. And that way, when you put it back in, it's not going to flow over the top of the pot. If you make sure that turkey's thawed, which is the next tip.
Yeah,
you want to make sure that turkey is completely thawed out and is completely dry, because water and oil, if you've ever splashed a little water in a frying pan on the stovetop when you're cooking bacon or cooking in the kitchen, you know how it pops. Well, if you put a frozen turkey in there, all that water is going to turn to steam. Yep. That steam expands, it makes the oil boil over, it hits the flames below, and now you have a volcano, and your turkey is much crispier than you ever wished for it to be.
And one of the things, Captain Johnson, too, something we forget about, I love the suggestion at putting the turkey in ahead of time to kind of get an idea of where your oil level is. If you're like me, you get turkey pots, you throw instructions away for everything, you figure it out on your own. Right. But most of the true turkey pots have those lines, a minimum and maximum line in that pot. Whatever you do, don't get to the maximum line, but certainly that is also based on whatever size turkey you're using. So if you're using a larger turkey than is recommended, then you've got to be cognizant of that for your oil level. So I really like the suggestion at putting it in ahead of time. And as he said, we can't emphasize enough to be sure the turkey is thawed out and patted dry. That is extremely important. That cold turkey in hot oil, and you've got to be very slow putting it in the pot, and certainly at a distance. And if something happens with it, most people want to rush for the water hose. Don't put water on it. Right. That's the worst thing you can ever do to anything involving oil or grease.
So the last couple of tips I would suggest would be, when you get ready, when that oil's heated up to its proper temperature, which we try to encourage folks not to get it over 350 degrees. Once it reaches 350 degrees, it really begins to become much quicker to flame up. So 350 should be your maximum on the oil temperature. Another very good suggestion that I recently read: turn the burner off while you put the turkey in the oil.
I've never heard that.
So that if it does boil over, there's no flame to ignite the oil. So put the turkey in once it's settled down and the oil, you're sure it's not going to bubble back up. Then you can light the flame up light it right back up. You're not going to lose that much heat if you turn that flame off for a couple minutes to put the turkey in there. So that was actually kind of a new one I just learned myself. And then, as Chief Hathcock was touching on, if for whatever reason you do have a fire, do not throw water on it. Have a fire extinguisher at hand somewhere close by. Your standard ABC fire extinguisher that you would have in your home, in the kitchen or whatnot, have one on standby, and use that safely. And last but not least, if you are nervous about attacking that fire for any reason, by all means, we don't want anyone to get hurt or get burned. Those burns can be very, very detrimental. They can you can have third-degree burns in no time with that hot oil. If you're at all concerned about it, leave it alone. Call 911 and let the fire department come take care of it for you. Chief Hathcock, how about around the kitchen? You got anything?
Yeah, but I got something on the turkeys. I want to ask you. I'm just curious on this. I love to cook. Most firefighters do.
No.
For you all.
Sleep. Go ahead.
Smoked turkey, grilled turkey, baked turkey, fried turkey. What's your favorite? Do you have a pick?
I like smoked.
Grilled barbecue turkey.
Grilled, barbecued, smoked for you. Yeah. I'm kind of torn between smoked and fried. I am a fried turkey.
But what kind of wood do you prefer for the smoking process?
Apple or pecan, really.
Okay.
I've used mesquite before, but probably of the two, apple.
I'm really glad you just said pecan instead of pecan.
Pecan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
And you got to brine it, right? Like if
You
you're
have
gonna do
to
any of this,
brine it, because if you don't,
the
it will be
turkey.
dry.
Yeah.
And make sure the bumpless dogs don't come and take it from you. You have to. A Christmas story, Chief. A Christmas story.
So you ask about overall cooking safety too, and one of the biggest things, you're gonna have a lot of people in the house, and certainly preparations, I'm sure, are already underway. One, don't get more than you can handle. You only have so many burners on the stove, okay? Don't get to a point to where you've overextended yourself. And most importantly, what we see that happens the most, as Captain Johnson's already indicated, nationwide, when you look at the prevalence of fire, almost all are some type of cooking-related fire, with the area of origin being the kitchen. So you've got to attend whatever you're cooking. Unattended cooking fires are the worst sometimes.
Absolutely.
You get a distraction, and it's very easy in today's world. You get a phone call, you get a text message, you hear the alert go off on your phone for something on Facebook, and you look back at the stove and something's boiling over. See what I mean there, Captain Johnson? So
That was a good example, Captain Johnson.
Yeah. So make sure.
What did you say?
You are watching everything you're cooking. Don't overextend yourself. Make sure you've got an extinguisher close by if you have the luxury of having one inside your home. If safe to do so, if you notice something boiling over, it's easy, just as he said on the turkey fryer. If you can safely do so, cut the burner off or simply put the lid on the pot, right? We recommend you not put any water on anything oil-based. Certainly situations, flour is another thing. I mean, if you've really got to get something on there and you can't safely get that lid on, if it's something oil-based, flour works. But just don't overextend yourselves. You have a lot of people and a lot of different things going on, and certainly we want to make sure you get everything done for Thanksgiving. But if you're going to a lot of different arenas, inside, outside, depending on what you're cooking, it's very easy to lose sight of what's actually going on. And most importantly, don't go to sleep or take a nap while you're cooking. Sometimes that happens. Maybe you lay down on the couch or sit down for a few minutes in between cooking, and you doze off and keep cooking. If you smoke, if you've got any smokers, visitors, or even if you smoke yourself, try to go outside to do those things during Thanksgiving. And candles, another big thing during the holidays. People, it's not just Thanksgiving but Christmas. People want to light candles all over. Be very cognizant of the location of the candles. If you happen to leave, go outside, blow the candles out. And pets too. Pets and children can get up and get candles, so certainly be aware of that.
Cats and Christmas trees. So.
That's a good segue into Christmas trees. How about some Christmas tree safety?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're going to, obviously, the safest bet is your Excuse me.
Artificial.
Your artificial trees.
Fake ones. Your fake ones.
Your fake trees. Yeah. My grandmother would roll over. But the artificial Christmas trees, and especially the newer ones, have the fire retardant on them. Are obviously your safer bets. But everyone, lots of folks love a live Christmas tree. They love that smell and whatnot. And the biggest thing with them is making sure that you've got a tree that's got good green needles that is not already dried out before you ever buy it. When you do get it home, I would recommend cutting off about an inch off of the bottom of wherever it has previously been cut, to go ahead and cut about an inch off of it, so you open up those the fibers on the end of it so it can absorb more water. Let it soak in some water for a couple of days and absorb as much water as it possibly can before you put it in the house. And then once you put it in the house, then some of it seems like common sense, but making sure that it is not close to any electrical devices that may cause undue heat, keeping it obviously away from fireplaces, any types of ignition or heating sources. Making sure we don't use live candles for light, which it's really sad that you have to remind folks of that, but that still does occur. Making sure you're using lights that are UL rated. Make sure if you buy new lights, make sure they have the UL label on them. They've been tested. Make sure that if you're using any type of extension cord that is designed for that purpose, a dollar extension cord is a dollar extension cord, and oftentimes we overload them unknowingly, and that excess current causes electrical fires. I was joking about cats and trees, but a cat, for whatever reason, is drawn to those the shiny ornaments and the tinsel and stuff, and the sanest cat in the world would attack a Christmas tree like a crazy person. And so secure the tree. I've actually personally we had to run wire from the tree to the windowsills and tie it up so the cat couldn't knock it down. We had to anchor the tree so our cat couldn't knock it down over the years. And for you cat lovers out there, well, I won't say what happened, but the cat doesn't bother the tree anymore. Moving on. When it comes time to dispose of the tree, I don't know what it is about a dry Christmas tree, but folks love to go out the couple of days after Christmas, throw it in the fire pit outside, throw a little diesel on it, and say, "Hey, y'all, watch this." It's never a good idea. Yeah. A Christmas tree, especially if it's dried out, will burn completely up in less than 30 seconds. It goes up very, very quickly and sometimes very violently, depending on how dry it is. So dispose of them properly. Make sure, a lot of towns offer Christmas tree pickup service. If you're down, if you're down near the coast, a lot of the folks down there use them, and they take them offshore and dispose of them for artificial reefs and things like that. So that's just a few of them. And as Christmas draws closer, we'll place a lot of these Christmas safety tips on our Facebook page and our social media outlets as well. So keep an eye out for that. And I know we're
I'll just jump into a few things and then
Let me ask something though.
Sure,
Even
go
though we're
ahead.
moving, I ask on the turkeys. I'm curious on the Christmas trees.
ham.
Artificial
Christmas
or
trees.
live? What's your pick?
So
My mind was still on food.
I personally like the live better because, that's just what I grew up with, live Christmas trees, the smell, you just can't beat it. But we do have an artificial that we've had for many years. So yeah, it's artificial for us.
I love the smell of a fresh tree, of a real tree myself, but I like the convenience of popping that puppy up like an umbrella, already put together, lights already on it, plug her in, Christmas is over, close the umbrella, put it in the bag, throw it in the attic.
Yeah. So I do like the live better though.
Yeah, so I'm with both of you. I'm certainly a live Christmas tree fan. My better half, for decorating purposes, is an artificial tree fan. But this year, Christmas season is really important to us. We actually have more trees than we've ever had before. We've got 3 Christmas trees up in our home. So my hope is
I totally understand.
3?
Maybe next year, one of the 3, I can get a real tree.
Okay, so colored
Maybe.
lights or all white lights?
Oh,
I'm actually really glad you asked that. I don't think
Good
my
question.
wife's watching anymore. So historically, I prefer color. Historically, she's had white just because she likes to make it really elegant, like a really pretty tree, elegant, you know, with the white lights. Me, I like the colorful, more whimsical, playful type trees, you know, with lots of color and lights. Our pre-lit tree, the pre-lit stuff finally gave out because it's so old now. So we had the string lights around it this year, and she got the ones that you can change from white to color.
Oh, yeah.
So she compromised with me. So as of right now, we are burning the colored lights, and I
Gotcha.
love it.
My wife is a fan of the all whites as well, whereas I'm more of the Clark
Yep.
Griswold guy. If she let me decorate for Christmas, she would probably move out of the house for the holidays. I like the colorful tree, but I haven't had one in 30 years.
Wow.
So one of these days, I may try that. I may have to find those lights like we're talking about.
I got them off Amazon, man. They weren't that expensive. You can change them. Just got a little remote, and you can change them. Obviously, they go from twinkle to flashing to all white to colored to white to
I
colored.
may
back
have to do
and
that,
forth.
and then when she goes to bed, I can just change it over to my preference.
So free tip there, certainly educational. For me, for years, it's always been white lights. My sister's classic colored light, but I really like this idea of being able to switch amongst the two. So I think I'm going to look into that.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll let's jump into a few things real quick. I'm gonna talk about home safety. And I know you touched on travel too. Travel is 100% common sense. Speed kills. So when you're out on the roads, if you're traveling this holiday season, slow down. You know, pay attention to other drivers, because a lot of times it's, you know, you might be doing the right thing, and it's the other drivers you got to worry about, especially if you're riding motorcycles. You got to watch out for other drivers because they can't see you as well as a vehicle coming. So as far as traveling tips, my only advice is to slow down, pay attention to, you know, the roadway, pay attention to speed changes, pay attention to traffic patterns, and just drive safe. We all know how to drive. You know, you pass your driver's license test. You know, there's no reason to really harp on that a whole lot. Just keep in mind too, you know, throughout the town, and, you know, I know especially on the highways and stuff, the highway patrol, they'll be out, you know, they'll be looking for those speeders. So just giving y'all a heads up, you know, slow down, drive the speed limit. Don't get caught up, you know, going too fast for conditions, especially if it's raining outside. We do see a lot of wrecks whenever it's raining, and they're calling for rain, I think Friday.
Yes.
So just be careful if you're out. I know Thursday is Thanksgiving, so if you're coming home on Friday from somewhere, just be cognizant of the weather. If it is raining, slow down. As far as home safety goes, there's a lot of things we could talk about, but my biggest pet peeves, and that I've seen, and we've seen where burglaries occur, is people get things and they put it out the road, right? So right after Christmas, you're going to see people getting TVs and video game consoles and things that cost a lot of money. Yeah. And we see the boxes down at the road for the trash to get picked up. And I understand you want your trash to get picked up, but what are you doing? You are advertising. You are advertising to people, hey, I just got this brand new 70-inch Samsung 4K TV in my house. You know, you don't want to do that. You don't want to tell people what you have inside. Another tip, if you're going out of town, and we're going back to the traveling, don't post online that you're leaving. Now, I know there are settings that you can set your social media to where it's private and only your friends see it. But as a good rule of thumb, don't post online, hey, going to Florida from this date to this date, going to see family. Wait till you get back. When you get back from your trip and you're home safe, that's when you go on social media and say, had a great time with my family in Florida, here are the pictures. So you don't want to advertise that you're leaving town. If you leave town, and you are cordial with your neighbors, you know, get them to get your mail. If you get a newspaper delivered, because some people still do, have them get the newspaper. You want it to appear that you are, in fact, home. Right. If you want to leave a light on in the house, that's probably a good idea, because in the daytime, obviously, no one can see into the house. But at nighttime, if your house is pitch black with no cars in the driveway or one car in the driveway, that tells people that someone's probably not there right now. But if you leave
timers for your lights,
if you can't leave, or if you don't feel comfortable leaving it on all the time, as Captain said, get you a timer, and it's not that expensive, I don't believe. They have them pretty much anywhere, Home Depot, Lowe's, and you can actually set it to where the light comes on from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. or whatever the time you set it to be. Same thing with Christmas lights. There are timers. I have them in my house for the Christmas lights. They're not really expensive at all. And so I know, for instance, the outside lights come on at, I don't know what time, like 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock, and they're off by 11. So that way we don't have to worry about going outside and unplugging lights and stuff like that. Guys, these are really easy things that you can do for home safety during the holidays. If you got a lot of family members coming over for the holiday season, whether it be for Thanksgiving, whether it be for Christmas, as he said, if they're smokers, have them go outside. Don't let that stuff be in your house. One, it's not healthy, and two, you don't want to run the risk of starting a house fire. We could go on for days and days, but again, like he said, there'll be some tips put online. I'm sure Garner Police will put out some tips closer to the holiday season as it gets closer. But I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for coming out and being on my show.
Absolutely.
And it's so funny that you were asking these questions the whole time, because that was what I was going to do at the end. But, man, you got me. But I got one for you.
Okay.
I don't like either. But is it sweet potato pie?
This is a tough.
Or
pumpkin.
Pumpkin pie.
I'm split. I like them both as long as I have Cool Whip
Okay.
or vanilla ice cream. But if I had to pick one of the two, I think sweet potato would be my favorite.
Okay. What about you, Don?
Well, I love them both too, but my little sister back home makes the best sweet potato casserole you have ever eaten in your life.
Now, really, sweet potato casserole.
So, since I can't beat the sweet potato casserole, I'll go with the pumpkin pie.
Okay. So we're split. Well, I told you I can't do either one of them. I can't do it. I don't know. I'm more of a chocolate pie myself.
Oh,
I love a good chocolate
anything
pie.
chocolate. Yeah. So,
Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, both of you and your families. Same to the citizens of Garner. I hope you guys have a beautiful holiday season, a safe holiday season. We thank you so much for being, the best community that, in my opinion, that there is around here.
I agree.
And as we mentioned before, if you can spare a few bucks and donate to the Toys for Tots or some other charity, it doesn't have to be that. It could be anything. That's great. If you can't, because I understand right now the way things are in this world, money can be tight for everyone. Then I suggest, or I implore you to just spread cheer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be nice. If you can't give money and you can't give
Good
material
deed.
things, just smile,
Right.
wave, ask someone how they're doing, tell them to have a blessed day.
Right.
I think a lot of times we get focused on material things and we forget that what it's really about is spreading holiday cheer and being thankful for what you do have. You know what I mean? So
Amen.
let's end on that. What do you say?
Absolutely. No better
right,
way to
guys.
end it.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this edition of Chat with a Cop. I am your host, Sergeant Medlin, and we'll see you in 2022. Y'all have a safe New Year's.